Hello, everyone, and welcome. Trace Worthington here alongside Joey Zuber for stop number 4 of the 2019 Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, live from the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and the spectacular Azores Islands of Portugal. And Joey, let's get right to it. The midway point of the season, what does this mean for the divers?
Well, it's an important time to grab valuable series points to further a lead or perhaps to play catch-up. Definitely a crucial part of the season, Trace Worthington.
A beautiful shot, and the stage is set for the world's best male and female cliff divers who are challenged by diving straight from the authentic and raw cliffs, kind of bringing it old school, Joey, back to the roots of the sport like it was, 250 years ago.
Definitely, you have to be the complete cliff diver. You have to manage diving directly from the cliff face, also the difficult dives from the constructed platform, and also very, very wild Atlantic seas.
And the series points are becoming more valuable and essential to the race of the 2019 title. And no surprise, the reigning champions, Joey, once again in a great position with big early season victories.
So, Trace, we have Rhiannon Iffland here. Off to a great start in the Philippines with a win. And also in Italy with a back-to-back win. That means she's in the lead currently in terms of the World Series points. Wonderful job by Rhiannon Iffland. Smooth diving. Wonderful conditions in Italy. And then Gary Hunt in the Philippines with the exact same result as Rhiannon Iffland. Stylish, beautiful rip entries in the lead in Italy as well as the Philippines. Gary Hunt, one of the dominant forces in the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. So these are the divers the other athletes are chasing. And as a reminder, though, anything can happen, especially in a location like this.
And it's a big season. 7 total stops, 3 new locations for the 2019 World Series, including El Nido, Palawan, Philippines. That was before Dublin, Ireland, and then Polignano Amari, Italy. That was the last stop, which leads us to here in beautiful São Miguel in the Azores Islands of Portugal. Beirut, Lebanon will host stop number 5. That's a new location before Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina. And then Bilbao, Spain will host the season finale where the Kinkai Kili trophies will be hoisted high by the top male and female divers from the 2019 World Series. But today in the Azores, one of the unique and remote locations on the series, Joey, who do you feel has the best shot of prevailing under these particular elements and circumstances?
Well, over the years, there's been quite a few different winners at this particular location, partly due to the challenging conditions, but to point out a few athletes, we saw Steve LoBue climbing the hill there. This is Adriana Jimenez. She's had 3 podiums here at this very location in the Azores Islands. So some of the previous challengers.
Oh, we are about to get this rolling. Starting with the women first. If you are new to the sport, this is Red Bull Cliff Diving, and this is how it works.
This is not a sport for the faint-hearted. Divers take off from up to 27 meters or 90 feet, the same as an 8-story building. Performing a complex series of twists and somersaults, they are scored by 5 international judges.
There we have it.
In just 3 seconds in the air, the divers can reach speeds of up to 85 kilometers per hour or 53 miles per hour. Scores are added across 2 days of competition to give an overall total.
That is what you call a rip entry.
To earn these scores, divers must perform 4 different dives of varying degrees of difficulty.
Sensational. This is just insane.
I'm in the Podium. The male and female divers with the highest total scores win the event.
I'm really happy.
And after all 7 events around the world have been completed, the divers with the most series points will be awarded the Kinkai Kili Trophy as the 2019 World Series champion. This is Red Bull Cliff Diving.
All right, that's how it all goes down. We're moments away from the first round of our first female diver. Before that, Joey, let's take a second and circle back to wildcard diver Maria Paula Quintero and her recent success in Italy.
As a matter of fact, she is the youngest athlete to stand on the podium in the women's field, just 18 years of age. And she also debuted a brand new dive this year, front quad somersault in the tuck position. So it's remarkable to see these new divers performing so well. And it's great that she's got a mentor like Orlando Duque supervising her and giving her advice.
A little bit of a slow start today. We'll see what she can do in the fourth round. But right now, let's bring in the third member of our team, David O'Queeve, who caught up with Maria earlier on.
Maria, Paula, so you burst onto the scene in Polinaro Mare. You got an amazing dive that ended you on the podium. Let's talk a bit about that dive itself.
Hi. Yeah. It was amazing and really, really happy because I don't believe that. I don't believe that this dive was the dive of that I go to the podium. So it's amazing. And for me, not for the podium, I'm happy because I did the dive good, and that's it.
Absolutely spectacular. Now, I do have another question about your mentor. I can see you every time you finish a dive, you run up and you ask Orlando Duque for some tips and advice. Has he been a huge help?
Yeah, it's so cool it's so cool that Orlando is here because he always told me that he helped me that I need to improve all my dives. So it's really cool. He's amazing. He's the legend. So it's really cool.
Absolutely, no better man. Well, good luck in the fourth and final round. We'll be watching from here, and I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, David. It's been a long process for the athletes so far. 3 of 4 dives for the women have been completed. So let's check out how things unfolded during the earlier rounds for the women, Joey.
What we're watching is the off-the-cliff round from the snakehead. Rhiannon Iffland on this dive. She scored a perfect 10 from the judge. The exact same result, as a matter of fact, that she had last year at the very same location. Lisanne Richard currently in second position in the competition right now, leading into the fourth and final round. A fine dive there, silky and smooth. Her classic rip entry maneuver. What a beautiful setting. Beautiful
shot of Vila Franca do Campo, just off the coast of São Miguel, an incredible island. And right now, here are the current standings. Rhiannon Iffland, right there, the 3-time Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion, leads the way coming into this event. She's 3 for 3 this season. And then factoring in last year, she's won 4 straight. If she wins today, it'll be a new women's record of 5 straight victories. 110 points behind Iffland is Belarus's Yana Natsiarava. Adriana Jimenez returns after sitting out the last competition in Italy. So each competition worth 200 points, still fairly wide open considering 800 points still up for grabs in this 2019 season. A panel of 5 fine judges out there. Antonio Martinez of Mexico. He is the head judge. Andrei Ignatenko of Ukraine, the winner of the first ever World Series, is here. Dmitry Sautin, the legend from Russia, 2-time Olympic champion with 7 Olympic medals. Jeff Arbin of Australia. And a new judge, Olivier Moreau-Richard, is in the house. And here we go with our first diver in the 4th round, Celia Fernandez. And there's the first diver to go here in the 4th round, Celia Fernandez, dropping into the Atlantic. What did you think about that one, Joey?
Very impressed that she can perform that handstand dive. That's a brand new maneuver for her. So the nerves of steel, you can see the waves in the background. And sometimes that makes it very difficult to hit the entry. You can see there's the Barani. That's a front somersault with a half twist, allowing the athletes to see the water until the very last moment. Look at the power and the strength pushing off the platform. There's a half twist. You have to use abdominal strength at that part. And here's the relieving moment of the dive. You see the water for the first time. Lifting her arms above the head there to slow the dive down. So the judges will deduct for the entry in this particular case. She needs to be a little bit more vertical, that's all.
All 4 rounds of diving are scored and added together for the grand total. So you can see her last dive right there, 59 points. You add that together with the first 3, 175.10, so 7th place for Fernandez to kick things off. Now, she is first to go in this final round. It's reverse order, so the lowest points after 3 rounds That diver goes first, and Celia Fernandez, Rhiannon Iffland, naturally the leader after 3 rounds, will dive last.
This is the 6th year here at the Red Bull Cliff Diving.
And the conditions, we'll talk about that a lot, Joey, because it is very challenging. They dove off the rough cliff face earlier on, now back on the platform as we look at our next diver, Yana Netsiarava, the 27-year-old Belarusian, the quiet competitor, but very loud with her results. Getting off to a slow start today, though, Joey.
Second in the series so far, though. Looking to make up for some lost ground on her 4th and final round. That triple somersault, the pike position. Also forward 3 somersaults. With 1.5 twists in the pike position.
2 podiums this season. Putting a lot of pressure on Rhiannon Iffland this year. The timing, Joey, must be very challenging with those swells coming in and out. Netsiarava, a little bit of an over-rotation on that one, Joey. And again, tell me a little bit about what it's like diving with the rough seas. I mean, this isn't what a normal competition looks like with all of that movement in the water.
I mean, sometimes you can get a little unlucky with the waves. If the waves tend to drop down, you can see Yana a little sore, so she's over-rotated on a majority of her dives at this competition. So perhaps her lower back is feeling some strain at the moment, but getting back to the point about the wave, so sometimes if you catch the bottom of the wave, it can make the platform higher and you may over-rotate. So sometimes you think you've got the dive lined up and all of a sudden the wave just comes away from you underneath your feet and you over-rotate. But it looks like she's just staying in that punched and rounded position that maintains that rotation, causing the dive to go past the vertical line.
5 judges. The high and the low are tossed out. The remaining 3 divided, or multiplied, excuse me, by the degree of difficulty. You saw the safety divers assisting her back to the jet ski. Perhaps a little bit shaken on that one. Netsiarava in 3rd place with 216.75, so that will be her grand total.
Speaking of the impact trace, that's 71 kilometers per hour for the viewers back home. That's how fast they're traveling by the time they hit the water, so very, very, very tough on the body.
Lisanne looking on, Lisanne Richard, excuse me, watching the next competitor coming down to the women's platform, by the way, which is 21 meters, 70 feet off the Atlantic Ocean. Jackie Valente awaits her turn, but right now the young Maria Paula Quintero, who David O'Keefe caught up with earlier, she is set to dive. Earned her first career podium in the 5th World Series of her life, and again, that was at the last stop. A big accomplishment for such a young athlete at 18 years old.
Inward, 3 somersaults in the tuck position.
Wow, look at the seas.
Very rough. See the wind picking up now. You can see her putting a hand out to the judges, saying I need a little bit more time to get settled before the dive, particularly when you're standing backwards and rotating inwards. It's very hard to balance. Getting very rough now.
Quintero comes in for her 4th dive and gets a little bit of a rough hit with that swell coming in, Joey. But nevertheless, we talked about gaining experience, and that's exactly what she's doing here.
Easier said than done. So this is the 4th and final round. It's the optional dives. So that's about pushing the degree of difficulty. So to remind the viewers, the judges will be judging the execution, not the degree of difficulty. So the more somersaults and twists you perform, the higher the degree of difficulty, and then the scores are added together by the judges, multiplied by the degree of difficulty. This is an inward takeoff, rotating in towards the platform. Nice pointed toes there, so now she's just trying to calculate when she needs to come out right there. Needs a little more tension in the legs, needs to make sure her legs don't split apart. And you can see the body rounded there on the entry, but the waves lapping against the cliff face. Choppy indeed.
64.60 for the youngest female ever to compete on the World Series. 219 will be her grand total. So Quintero, 3rd place. Rhiannon Iffland still remains the leader, even though she hasn't taken her last round. Look at that, right there. Villa Franca do Campo, about 1 kilometer off the coasts of São Miguel. Beautiful islet. Ellie Jimenez right there in the background in the green. Looking on as Jackie Valente drops down the staircase to the platform. Again, the women's platform, 21 meters, 70 feet off the water. The men, who we'll see shortly, go off a much higher platform of 90 feet. Greg Louganis, the sport director, total legend, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series sport director, making sure things are all dialed in, safe and sound. Chilling out up there. We are talking to young David O'Queeve, our reporter, about how much of a legend he is, meaning Greg Louganis yesterday, bringing him up to speed.
Still holds the record, back-to-back Olympic gold medals, 2 Olympics in a row. Jackie Valente now with one of the world's hardest dives, another arm stand, so a back arm stand, 2.5 somersaults with 2 twists this time.
How hard is this to do an arm stand, especially with kind of, you said the wind was picking up a bit. I mean, this must be very difficult.
Especially with the wind.
21 meters off the Atlantic Ocean, pulling off a handstand. Impressive. So Jackie Valente with not much splash there, so ripping the entry. And Lisanne Richard, who we'll see in a moment, she enjoyed that one.
Great DD. The interesting thing is, when we go back to the replay, she did lose her balance in the arm stand. And in the rules, it states you need to make sure you have a steady balance before you take off from the platform. So interesting to see how the judges will perceive this. You can see there, a little bit of a loss of balance, but nonetheless regains composure, gets into the twist, and sneaks through the water for a relatively clean entry, but very impressive to see such complex dives being performed. I do believe she was the first woman in the world to execute this dive.
Actually, it was here, wasn't it? It was here a couple years ago, I
could have
believe.
been. You may be right. Here we have the entry. There's that acceleration curve, so split-second judgments required. So all parts of the dive judged fairly and equally, the takeoff, flight, and entry.
Should keep an 8, a 7, and a 7.5. The high and the lower tossed out. 94 on that particular dive, so 250 points for Valente. And the Brazilian will now move into the lead. So 250 points is the score to beat after all 4 scores are added together. And Jackie Valente was number 4 of 10 women. As we look at Iris Schmidbauer of Germany, 24 years old, 6th career appearance on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. She's improving, Joey. You and I were talking about her earlier. She was 4th at the one and only stop she competed this season. Great potential.
She has. She's a very hard-working athlete. The main thing she needed to improve upon is her entries, and she's been doing that. So much more consistent. So really proud of Iris. It takes a lot of discipline, this sport. Years and years of practice, strength, flexibility. You need to work on your psychological game as well. Mentally strong, visualize the dive. Back 3 somersaults in the pike position with 1 twist. She needs 6.5 to take the lead currently.
Schmidbauer piercing through the water for her 4th dive.
Incredibly nerve-wracking to stand on that platform. You need nerves of steel. Iris Schmidbauer. Also, she placed 5th at the FINA High Diving World Cup in China this year as well. Spent quite a bit of time diving in Plymouth in England with Fito Gutierrez, a fine high diving coach. So now watch the arms, how the arms will swing up to generate rotation. A little bit too much distance from the platform. The judges will look at how close you are to the platform or how far away. And you can see at the end of the dive, She was really trying to stretch it out to slow it down. Watch here carefully. There's the half twist. Here's the pike. And at the end of the dive, I'll point something out to you. But once again, coming out, she sees the water, drives the heels. And right here, you can see the arms coming behind the body. Whoop, feeling fast. And a slight over rotation. So getting the takeoff right, or the point where you need to come out of the dive, needs to be precise.
Bunch of 7s, a 6 by Antonio Martinez, the head judge, and Iris Schmidbauer of Germany, 79.80 on that dive. And you roll that up, add all 4 together, 258.80. So Schmidbauer of Germany moves into the lead. on a beautiful day as Adriana Jimenez makes her way down the ladder. The water temperature, 22 degrees Celsius, 72 degrees Fahrenheit, by the way, actually warmer than the air temperature at the moment, which is 19 degrees Celsius and 66 degrees Fahrenheit. Adriana Jimenez took a break from the last competition, the first competition she's missed in her career on this World Series from a nagging hernia injury and also some nerves running down the neck area, Joey.
Well, here she is with one of her favorite dives, back triple somersault in the pike position. She's won here in Portugal in the past, the Azores Islands.
Jimenez making it look easy, and that injury that we talked about from the last stop looking to be cleared up. Very nice job for her fourth and final dive. We'll see if she can pull in there to move into first. She needs a 63.15. What do you think of that dive?
Well, we saw the entry slicing through the water, the underwater camera shot, so now we can watch the dive. Good jump, good takeoff. She's got beautiful form in the air, nice straight legs, pointed toes, everything's together, flying there. And then I think she felt like she was going a little bit fast, and she held on to that straight position a little bit too long. There's still sevens from the judges. She's been very consistent in this competition, so watching her, she'll count the water there for the second time, coming out at the right time. And just watch here, she just holds the fly, hold. She feels like she's fast, arms above the head, and then just slightly short of vertical. But once again, very difficult to find those rip entries, and a rip entry means a dive with no splash. So quite often at this location, you see a bit more splash than other tour stops. So 84 points for Adriana Jimenez.
Not bad. Jimenez moves into the lead, so it's 279.65 will be the grand total for her, and that will hold as we look at a beautiful shot of Vila Franca do Campo. Again, 1 kilometer from the coast of São Miguel. And Ellie Smart gets ready to go. Let's check out her first round dive off the snakehead, Joey.
There we have double somersault, 1.5 twist. Excellent entry, so she really needs to start improving and stepping up her game, and that's the way to do it. What a lovely dive. So looking much more consistent at this competition, but she has placed third the FINA High Diving World Cup in Abu Dhabi 2018, so we know she's capable of making the podium.
And that area is just over the rock you looked at right there, and almost behind the camera shot that you see here, and just the difference between the water and the calmness in that area where it's very protected, but now out near open seas right here off the platform.
Yeah, this is the Atlantic Ocean, so the Azores Islands are basically right in the middle of this ocean between the Americas and Europe. Ellie Smart taking a deep breath, visualizing the dive. She likes her twisting maneuvers. This time a front 2 somersaults with 2.5 twists, standing forwards, rotating forwards.
She needs a good competition here, a little slow start to the season in the overall points. Ellie Smart, not bad, completely drills that entry, Joey.
Wow.
That ought to do well on the points.
What a rip entry. Now, just to highlight this fact, she needs 8 to jump into the lead. Ellie Smart with that dive. Wow, she might just sneak into the lead. She's very, very happy indeed, and rightly so. She's got a good takeoff here, nice and confident. That's what I like to see. Watch the arms wrapping across the body into the twist. Now watch how the arms will come out wide. That stops that twisting action. And this is very important, this part, the trampoline maneuver called the Barani, a front somersault with a half twist. Got to land on your feet, and that's because of the speed and the velocity. But what do the judges think about this dive? We're coming down to 3 more divers after this point. Will she sneak into the lead? Ellie Smart, she might be in the running for a podium here, Trace Worthington.
Founder and CEO of the Clean Cliffs Project, Ellie Smart, a big score. She got those 8s and 9s you were talking about, Joey, 89. That will roll up to a 287 and move her into the lead. A well-deserved and must-needed big score for Ellie Smart of the United States. Men's competition coming up. Jonathan Paredes, he leads the way after 3 rounds of diving, visualizing his 4th dive, including Macaulay Navratil. The gentlemen are ready and set for their dives off 27 meters, 90 feet off the Atlantic Ocean. So Ellie Smart leads the way with 287. Rhiannon Iffland in 2nd right now. A great comeback for her after taking a little break of injury. And Iris Schmidbauer in 3rd right now. Ellie Smart with 7 to go of 10. So we have Macaulay, Richard, and Iffland, the top 3 divers after 3 rounds, ready to drop in. Macaulay, British diver, 26 years old, currently 4th overall in the World Series points. She represents the UK but resides in Texas in the United States.
Has a good track record with this dive. Now it's about getting on the podium. If she scores 7s from the judges, she'll take the lead and guaranteed a podium.
Macaulay on the money. It is a big competition brewing here.
Fantastic
in the final
diving.
3 dives.
Fantastic diving by Jessica Macaulay. This is one of the dives I really like to watch her perform. Very elegant, very smooth in the air. So she's a tall diver. So she's got these nice, elegant, long lines with her legs and her toe point. She's eagerly awaiting the scores from the judges. Jumping up, great elevation, beautiful pike, confident kick out, vertical through the water. Okay, not a perfect rip entry, but the most important thing to look out for is the vertical entry. And now we're left to question what the judges will mark the dive. I really like it. I really do.
Joey likes it. We'll see if the 5 judges like it. The high and the low are tossed out. The remaining 3 multiplied by the degree of difficulty. She'll keep 2 8s and 8.5. Huge DD with 4.0. So look at that, 98 and 304.70. So Jessica Macaulay moves into the lead with 304.70 as we look at a beautiful shot of Vila Franca do Campo. The women are happy right there. The 2 divers that are 1 and 2 right now, Macaulay and Smart. Beautiful shot of the monolith, Joey. This location's just stunning.
It is.
As you look at Macaulay with 304, so well ahead of Smart, and Jimenez in 3rd. So there were your 3 podium positions at the moment, with 2 strong divers yet to drop in Lisanne Richard and Rhiannon Iffland.
She's got the Quebec flag there as well, waving it proudly.
Okay, now Lisanne Richard, 37 years old, the most senior female diver, currently 3rd in the overall World Series points. She performs well here, Joey, placing 2nd and 3rd in the last 2 times she's been here. She didn't compete in 2017 due to an injury.
She's got a good strike rate in terms of making the podium, so more than 50% of the time she stands in the top 3, and she's famous for those rip entries. She slices through the water. Last 2 divers on the platform, a lot of pressure on her shoulders right now. Here we go, back 3 somersaults. In the pike position with 1 twist.
Can you come closer?
And she can't falter here, Trace. She needs 7.5s from the judges at minimum, around about her average score.
One of the 2.
Now
yes,
she's
that's
communicating with the safety divers down below, and a very critical position the safety divers are in, Joey. And they follow the divers in and underwater just in case of any mishaps. They do a great job down there, especially swimming all day long.
It is. That's
tiring.
4 hours in the water.
Here we go, Lisanne Richard, and then we will see Rhiannon Iffland. The time is now. Little bit of a splash coming in on that one. Joey and her fellow competitors know it as well. A little bit of a clap, but not the dive in particular that I would imagine Lisanne Richard was looking for.
No, she wasn't quite looking for that, but the most important point to look at here is the judges sit at the 90-degree angle. They look at the dive from side on so they can see if the dive is vertical through the water. So like we were saying before, you tend to see a lot more splashy dives at the end because of the choppy conditions with the seas. She was a little slow on takeoff. She held on right to the very end, and you can see, to be honest, not too bad, not too far a vertical, but what do the judges think about the splash? This will be incredibly interesting. You can see a little bit of a bend in the knees at the beginning of the dive. I'd like to see her toes pointed a little more, but she is a tough athlete, Lisanne Richard. There we have it. We have some questions here. Oof, here we go.
Interesting. 6.5, 7, a 6 and a 7. This is going to be tight. Actually, a fairly low score on that one, Joey. 76 on her fourth and final dive, and you add that together, 298.30. So she does move into second, which means Jessica Macaulay is in the lead with 304.70. Could be her very first win, and Macaulay, second is her best career finish on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. Ellie Smart, if she remains on the podium, that will be her first ever podium. Rhiannon Iffland, though, is a tough one to beat unless she makes mistakes. The three-time Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion here on her fourth and final dive. Joey, what do you think about this? What does she have in the vault of dives?
It's still nerve-wracking for her, being the last diver on the platform. Everyone is waiting to see her dive for the final result of this competition. Good strike rate, normally scores around about 8.5 for this dive. She needs 7.5 or greater to take the lead. Anything can happen right now. Can she do it?
So far undefeated this season with 3 wins. And again, when you roll that up into last year, she's won 4 in a row. A victory right here, right now. She will set the all-time Women's World Series record of 5 straight wins. Rhiannon Iffland. In typical form, Rhiannon Iffland, the 3-time Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion. Not a drop of water left behind. She is stoked and does it again.
Typical diving from Rhiannon Iffland, handling the pressure, outstanding result with that particular dive. Of course, we're waiting for the judges' scores, but
you've seen the sport long enough. What's your call?
She's going to get the scores, in all honesty. And the thing about Rhiannon Iffland, she just knows how to handle the pressure at the right moment. Going after the dive, confident takeoff, squeezing into the ball shape. That's called a tuck position right there. But she's so consistent with this dive, she hardly ever misses. She normally performs her harder dive in round 3 to get the pressure off with that dive and leaves her best dive till last. And the best dive it is for her in the 4th and final round. For Rhiannon Iffland, once again, last diver on the platform, and looking like if she's going to make it 5 wins in a row. That is the question. We'll know very shortly. Round of applause from the fellow athletes.
They know what they're up against, and they know that Rhiannon has to make a slight mistake in order to not win in that 4th round because she is such a good pressure diver. And there you have it, folks. 102.60. Rhiannon Iffland wins it here in São Miguel, and a new record. 15 World Series events she has won, and 5 straight, setting a new women's Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series record of straight wins. It is her 19th podium out of 21 starts. That's an impressive rate.
It is. I mean, to be that consistent and to have scores so high, you have no idea how difficult that is to achieve. She comes from a trampolining background as well as a elite diving background. With the trampolining, they're used to landing feet first in the trampoline with that front somersault and the half twist called the Barani, so she's done that thousands of times, and I do believe that's helped her become such a dominant force in the Women's World Series. Here's the winning dive, the inward triple somersault in the tuck position with a half twist, a dive that she knows oh so well. And this sport is as much mental as it is physical. So she's got a good relaxed nature about her before the competition, before the dive. She shakes it off, stays cool, stays calm, stays collected, focused individual.
So from the Vila Franca do Campo Islet, Rhiannon Iffland takes home another victory and a record 5 straight wins for the women on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. Jessica Macaulay, an impressive job of second, and Lisanne Richard in 3rd.
Good to see Eleanor Townsend Smart sliding up the ranks there. That's important.
Very important, great women's competition. The locals call the islet the Princess Ring after being used for many purposes over the centuries. From a military fort area to a vineyard, the islet is now a nature preserve. So Rhiannon Iffland, the overall series points after this stop, 600 points after 4 stops. Lisanne Richard in second, Macaulay in third with 360 points. So Rhiannon Iffland, a huge lead in the overall series points and on her way to a 4th Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series title. All right, beautiful shot right there of Villafranca do Campo, in São Miguel, Azores, Portugal. The beautiful islands here, and we are getting set for the men. Rhiannon Iffland with a great victory once again. But before we get underway with the guys, David O'Queeve had the opportunity of catching up with the diving legend, Orlando Duque.
Well, he needs no introduction, Orlando Duque. Now, you are very, very familiar with diving here in the Azores. In fact, a win there just 2 short years ago. What is it like diving in these conditions?
Diving in these conditions is tough. Not only we do 2 dives from the rocks, but also there's a lot of movement in the water. So when you win here, it's like you feel like you won one of the most prized events in Red Bull Cliff Diving.
I have no doubt. It seems like the swell will play a huge part in the diving. Now, another question. We earlier spoke to your protege. You've taken Maria Paula Quintero under your wing. Has that been an enjoyable experience?
Yeah, it's been great. Maria Paula, she really wants to learn. She wants to try more difficult dives. She pays a lot of attention. She's really motivated to practice. That's really good. She's still really young. She has a lot of years in front of her. So it's good that she has all that energy to put into the sport. We need to get more women on this side. So it's great to have her.
Absolutely, and she is so young, and I've no doubt a massively bright future ahead. Well, Orlando, thank you for your time, and enjoy the finals.
Thank you very much.
All right, Orlando Duque, such a legend, 44 years old. He won here just a couple years ago at the age of 42. He still has it. He is an incredible mentor. But let's check out some of the men to watch here as we get ready for them.
Okay, that was round 1 from the Snakehead. And as you can see there, the scores from the judges, 3 10s. The record is 5 10s in one competition. So he's got one more dive to see if he can break that record. The intermediate dive round there from the Snakehead, Jonathan Paredes, the Rip Master, the Style Master. And then we have Andy Jones looking cool and calm, very relaxed. Here's a front triple somersault in 3 positions. Ever so smooth. Wonderful, wonderful rip entry. And then we have round 3. This is diving from the platform, of course. Look at that. Vintage, classic. That is an example of how to dive. Gary Hunt, what a legend, what a champion.
A beautiful shot again, their platform, 27 meters, 90 feet off the water. And this is the start list for the men's final. It's the lowest score after 3 rounds. It dives first. That'll be Jucelino Junior. Steve LoBue of the United States, he will run 8th. And then we'll see Colturi of the U.S., Navratil, Preda, and then the top 3, Andy Jones, Jonathan Paredes, and Gary Hunt in a familiar position, diving last because he is in the lead after 3 rounds. As we get ready for the men, 14 total. Jucelino Junior, the wild card diver. He had an interesting weekend, too. He proposed to his girlfriend after the first round dive.
Yeah, we all knew about it. We were in on it. So what? I'm like, yeah. He seems more happy about the marriage than the competition.
So he dove. He's not wearing much. Where do you think he kept the ring?
Exactly. Well, I will tell a secret. He did keep it in his bathing suit.
He did keep it.
He had a special compartment in there. So anyway.
That's enough information from Joey Zuber. Jucelino Jr., congratulations on his engagement. 35 years old. The last time he competed on the World Series was in La Rochelle, France in 2016, where he placed 10th. So we'll see if he can back up his engagement with a decent result today. Either way, he's won.
That he has. Comes from a humble background. Started as a street acrobat in his city in Belém in Brazil, and then slowly worked his way up to perform in elite diving shows. And here he is standing on the platform, the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series.
The bell, you hear that. That signifies the divers, the judges, and the safety divers down below are all ready to go. First diver in the men's round number 4, Jucelino Junior. Taking a step back. There is a little bit of grip tape right on the end of that platform, Joey. If those are new to the sport and wondering.
Very important to have that. So occasionally you do have a little bit of light rain as well. So the divers will stand on the platform when they're rotating forwards and curl their toes over the front. So you need a lot of grip there. The wind is picking up slightly.
The depth of the water about 8 meters, 26 feet. He's thinking it through, Joe. You've been in this position before. You're standing 27 meters, 90 feet off the water. You hear the rough seas crashing against the rocks. Is that intimidating?
It is, and it's been quite a while since Jucelino has actually dove from the platform. And when it's been a long wait, it's all the more nerve-wracking. You can see him trying to psych himself up for the dive. He's got to picture that dive perfectly in the mind before he tries to execute it. So wishing him well here. He's trying to get focused right now.
Most people coming to the end of a platform looking at that even 10 feet off the water, not even doing 3 somersaults with 2.5 twists. Really, your heart would drop pretty low, I would imagine.
Equivalent of an 8th-story high-rise building.
3-second free fall, 85 kilometers per hour, 53 miles per hour. And this 3 times the height of a traditional 10-meter platform that you would see in the Olympics. Feet first, can't go head first. There's reasons for that, Joey, as well, because
looks like he's finding it difficult to get his head into the game. It's been a long, long time. And this is, put it this way, Trace, when you wake up in the morning before a competition or before you're going to do one of these dives, you're already nervous, you're already thinking about what you need to do. So Blake Aldridge there.
We get nervous just doing the commentary. Right? I mean, these guys have to do this. And so we will move on to the next competitor. So Jucelino Junior will take a break and think it through. Greg Louganis makes the call and says, hey, look, you take a break for a second, Jucelino. Blake Aldridge will now come out. Blake Aldridge at this point has nothing to lose. Really slow start to this particular competition. Jucelino Junior will think this through and walk back out onto that platform. Looks nervous. All right, we'll bring up Blake Aldridge now, currently 11th on the overall World Series points. You know, one of only a handful of guys who has competed at this location in all 8 World Series editions over the years. What's he going to be doing?
Okay, back arm stand, 2.5 somersaults, 3 twists. Very windy.
Blake
Aldridge, wow, look at that.
The former,
made up for
former Olympic diver Blake Aldridge showing us his technique and his style, looking very relieved after the dive.
Yeah.
Bit of a slow start, as you said, at this particular competition, but right now it's the midway point of the season. You need to grab onto valuable series points. Also, you need to make sure you qualify for next year's series, okay? So this is definitely important for his current situation for Blake Aldridge.
He does have the best shorts, by the way, or what do you call it? I mean, they call them budgie smugglers, but
that's right, the rubber ducky budgie smuggler edition.
Yeah. Those are great. So he's winning so far in that category.
Exactly. Now, Blake, as we said, competed in the 2008 Olympics, so in terms of his technique and twisting ability, it is superb. He twists very quickly. You can see the rush of adrenaline after the dive, feeling relieved, and a big smile.
Wow, big score on that, 115.15 after some not-so-great dives earlier on. So Aldridge with 299.75 sets the pace as we look at a beautiful shot of the islet of Vila Franca do Campo off of the spectacular island of São Miguel in the Azores Islands of Portugal. Jucelino still thinking it through. We are 1,300 kilometers and nearly 1,000 miles off the European mainland here in São Miguel, situated in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. The Azores archipelago, comprised of 9 islands spread over 3 groups. We look at our next diver, Slavik Kolesnikov, the wild card diver, 37 years old, his 3rd appearance on the World Series. The first event that he's competed this season with us, though, Joey.
That's right. His first competition in the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series was in the Azores Islands last year, giving the OK sign to the safety divers below and also the judges. Inward 4 somersaults in the tuck position. Standing backwards and will rotate in towards the platform.
Piercing through the water, a nice dive for Kolesnikov of Ukraine.
Looking good, looking good. Confident diving, performing in a show in Taiwan currently. Remember, on the first day of practice, he was feeling quite jet lagged, so he took it easy on the first day of training, and he's made up for the training time with this particular dive. There's 1 somersault, 2, counting on to 3 somersaults. Right there, that makes it 4 in total. Now the men diving from 27 meters, as you mentioned before, Trace Worthington, 85 kilometers per hour. Aerial awareness is key. That's the part the divers are most scared of, losing their orientation, losing their way in the air. So the head position is very important, particularly with a dive like this. You need to make sure your head stays nice and neutral. And let's look at the scores.
5 judges. The high and the low are tossed out. The remaining 3 multiplied by the degree of difficulty. 101 on his 4th dive. 306.05. So moves ahead by 7 points over Blake Aldridge. We'll see if Jucelino Junior takes his dive. So 2 divers down. 14 total men. Gary Hunt is the top qualifier, so he will dive last. And here's Chris Kalanis. We talk a lot about Chris Kalanis. Don't rule this guy out as a contender to earn the King Kakili Trophy this year or at some point, Joey. Para, top 5 finishes this season. Very consistent. Just one of those quiet guys who sneaks in there. What's he got going on?
Sitting in 3rd with the World Series ranking. You can see him indicating to the security divers below that he's going to do a running takeoff. So watch this. He will stand backwards and he'll run and mark out the exact number of steps required to do a running takeoff. So Chris Kalanis will perform one of the most impressive dives, a front 5 somersaults in the pike position. Okay, there he is, marking out the run-up to make sure when he runs to the end of the platform, he gets right to the very end where you see the grip tape.
Artistic character, owns Mad Hoppers, his event and clothing company. Here we go. Pretty good dive, high DD for Kalanis, the degree of difficulty, but will that pull into the lead? He needs 97 points, Mr. Zuber.
Can you believe he even attempted this dive? 5 somersaults, it makes me dizzy even watching it. And as I said before, aerial awareness is so important here. Watch him run up and throw the dive forwards. Okay, watch here. Okay, the arms will come above the head. That helps generate rotation, throws forward, pike position. Look how he squeezes in nice and tight, holding on. There it is, 4.5. There it is, 5 somersaults. But as you can see, very hunched on the end of the dive. As he took off, what I noticed that he maybe was a little bit too slow. So you need to make sure you get enough rotation. And maybe he came out early. Let's have a look where he comes out. Yes, coming out too early with that dive, way too early. If he stayed in that pike position, in that shape for longer, he would maintain the rotation. Because he came out earlier, he turned into a bigger wheel. A bigger wheel will spin slower. That is why he didn't finish the dive correctly. Unfortunate for Chris Kalanis.
Keeps a pair of 4s and a 4.5, and 63 won't get him on the podium with a 272.35. So Jucelino Junior, as we mentioned, stepped off the platform, and he's with David O'Queeve right now. What's up, David?
Jucelino, so you obviously ran into some difficulties standing on the platform. Talk us through the conditions, what was going on in your head.
Yeah, like, I come back to competition like after 2 years, so now come back the 27 meters. It's not really easy, and like you keep it go hard tricks, you know, like it's really mental games, and then I still keep doing. Like I have like a little problem I need to, so I know my mind like it's off on, and I mean just for be safe, like I'm happy to able to do like a couple of dives already, like after 2 years. But today is my body still can do it, but my mind is say like no.
Well, listen, it is a mental battle, and to be fair, you did do 3 dives, and that is a serious achievement. But let's talk about a more positive note. You had a bit of a proposal the other day.
Yeah, that at least this I have, you know, like I think about it, I propose, and then I think also like can be my mind for things. Good for me, like I have the yes and no, yes on this for a step on my life, and then also come back to the competition. You know, like after 2 years being 27 meters, like really hard, really hard, especially when you go for hard tricks. You should to be like more than 100% mine. So like everyone said, like body can be 20%, mine with 80%. So today my mind it's for the last one it's not very enough.
Well, not to worry, you're still a winner if you took it your life with your wife or your wife-to-be, so congratulations on that, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, see you soon. I hope you enjoy it again.
Well said, Jucelino, and well said, David Okoyev. He's won either way, Joey, but that's just being smart. Simple as that.
It is. It's a bigger man to actually stay back. It's a braver thing to do that. You need to be realistic about the situation. As he said, it's been 2 years since he dove from 27 meters, so I actually respect the decision to do that, to be honest.
Off to our next competitor. This is Manuel Halbisch of Germany, the 21-year-old youngster, in his first appearance on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, and what a place to debut here, one of the most challenging locations on the series.
Saw Manuel dive for the first time earlier this year in China. He's actually a policeman and a fine gymnast. And the thing that surprises me about Manuel, he's very calm and handles the pressure very well for a rookie.
See that beautiful shot of the volcanic rock out here in Villafranca do Campo.
Okay, front 4 somersaults in the pike position for Manuel.
Whoa, and he goes way by Joey onto his back. The safety divers go after him.
That's rather unfortunate. From time to time, we do see some incidents in all sports. And Manuel, unfortunately, has lost his way in the air. And I'm quite surprised to see that, because when I saw him competing earlier this year at the FINA High Diving World Cup, he was very cool and calm and composed.
So what is the typical when somebody goes in that hard on their back, Joey? In your experience, you've seen this a lot. I mean, what typically happens there? You get the wind knocked out of you?
It knocks the wind out of you. But, I mean, luckily he's in really good shape. Like, most of the time it takes a lot of time to get your breath back. You can see here, here's the 1 somersault and 2. What he's done is he's actually just come out too early, and he's actually thinking like he's doing a triple half. He came out way too early. He was supposed to hold on to another somersault. At this point, you're in survival mode, and you can see him landing on his back. I mean, that is a brutal impact. I mean, I really feel for Manuel, and I'm very, very surprised to see that, because he dove so well in the training camps and the previous competitions. But it's a common mistake when you see divers going for quad somersaults. I've seen this a lot in the past, and they accidentally come out at the triple, so they get confused in the air. But what a tough guy to handle that impact. Manuel, luckily he's in great physical shape.
And that, I mean, Joey, in all of your years that you have been doing this, in your experience diving and as a commentator, And as a leader in the sport, that's probably the #1 question you get asked all the time. Do people get hurt? Do they come in on their back? Do they come in on their stomach? And we don't see it often on this World Series.
No, this is the biggest fear of all athletes, losing your way in the air, and it happens to all athletes at some point in time. It's happened to Orlando Duque. It happened to Gary Hunt. He did a dive or accidentally did the wrong dive. It happens to the best of us. So this is the reality of the sport from time to time, but it looks like he's going to be okay. He's a tough character.
And then all you hope is that Nikita Fedotov, our next diver, didn't witness that, because that would probably shake his mind up a little bit.
That's a good point. So when you're an athlete, and most likely he would have seen that, but now he has to actually, believe it or not, forget about that experience as best as he can.
Yeah.
And now he's got to get onto the platform and be a little bit selfish and think about what he needs to do. This is really important right now for him, especially for his safety.
You witnessed Jucelino Junior, coming off of the platform. Now you witness Halbisch doing that. And so he comes up with 3 somersaults with 2.5 twists as his 4th and final dive. The 24-year-old had a podium in Mostar 2017. Lives and works in China. We'll see if that experience doing shows and exhibitions will pay off here.
Now,
he's used to diving in front of a lot of people.
Exactly. So Nikita Fedotov in his first competition as a wild card actually placed 3rd in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Right.
Now it's a front 3 somersaults with 2.5 twists in the pike position. Now stay focused. He can take the lead here. He needs 7s from the judges.
He completes the dive, and Fedotov, not the best entry we've seen all day, Joey, but just the mental mindset to come back after what we had just witnessed with Manuel Halbisch.
Bravo. Pike position with the legs straight, folded against the body. Perhaps he came out a little bit late, and that maintained that rotation. You can see he's completely straight and just went past that vertical line, causing a little bit of a splash, but easier said than done. This is a saw.
Pair of 7s, a 7.5. And you add that together, 92. You add that together with the first 3 dives. So Fedotov moves into the lead with 313.85. Don't forget to follow us on our social media handles on Facebook at Red Bull Cliff Diving. As we look at a beautiful shot, if you just joined us, São Miguel, the Azores Islands of Portugal, a true World Series classic. This is stop number 4. And that is Vila Franca do Campo. That's the small islet in which the divers are launching from in this 4th stop of the series. Alexei Prygorov.
Okay. Alexei Prygorov with the highest degree of difficulty, 5.4, a running takeoff. Gary Hunt, the only other person in the world to perform this dive. Here we go.
Wow, a lot going on in the air. Prygorov.
Acrobatic prowess from Alexei Prygorov. So much strength. It was so fast. So many different skill sets in that dive. It
What a
almost
dive.
makes you dizzy. I mean, wow. I mean, this guy, okay,
He's the real deal.
3rd in the Olympics. A bronze medalist from the Beijing Olympics into the pike position. Coming around into the Barani, he's made a fantastic transition. He was a 3-meter springboard diver. Now here he is, 24 meters higher from the 27-meter platform. Pike there, 2 twists in the middle, has to re-pike in the middle. He told me that this dive you have to work so hard with. Every step of the way, you're fighting the dive. right
Wow.
there.
Look at
There's
that
a twist.
takeoff.
Abdominal strength again in that last part of the dive. Digging deep, nice and vertical. Shame he didn't quite get that rip entry, but I do believe he should get some decent scores from the judges.
He'll throw out an 8 and a 7.5. He'll keep a pair of 8s and a 7.5 with big degree of difficulty. You add that all up with his first three, 365.55 for Prygorov, and he is 7th to go of 14. So a lot of the top athletes yet to drop into the Atlantic Ocean here in Villafranca do Campo. And here's Stephen LoBue, who's won here twice before. And in fact, he's the defending champion from 2018. So a year ago, he dialed things in, sealed the deal, won. Wasn't easy, always when you're going up against Gary Hunt. He also won here in 2014. Nearly won the King Kakili Trophy, Joey, last season, but it all came down to the last stop where Gary Hunt prevailed.
And the last dive as well. So actually, it was questionable whether Steve LoBue would even be diving today. He's got the flu, so he's very sick. So to muster up the courage and find the energy to dive under these conditions, very brave.
There's the bell signifying the diver, and the judges are ready to go. Steve LoBue of the United States.
Needs 8.5 from the judges. Another running takeoff, same dive as Chris Kalanis. Front 5 somersaults. First person in the world to perform this skill.
Steve LoBue, a lot going on. Pulls his legs in at the last flip. Joey, what does that mean?
Trace Worthington, I believe I actually saw something. We need to see the replay. I may be wrong, but I believe his foot hit the platform at the beginning of the dive. Watch here closely. I need to look at this here. Okay, he runs, he hips in a little bit. Yes, he did. He hit the platform.
Just with his toes?
Yeah, you can see him panicking a little bit there, running out of room. And when he hit the platform, it slowed the rotation down. Okay, so he's hipped the dive in. Watch this very carefully. The arms will come above the head, and the hips will come back. You can see it very tight, the platform. There's the foot right there, hitting the platform. Squeezing in. You can see his feet flat. As soon as the feet go flat, you know he's in trouble. You sense something. So he doesn't know exactly how much room he has left after his dive. Watch this. So tight to the platform. Actually, he's hit his head on the platform before in La Rochelle in France. There it is. And right there, you can see the somersault stalling.
Have you done that before?
I've hit my feet on the platform before on an inward rotating dive. Watch the feet here, and he starts to flatten, and he's thinking, oh, here we go. How much time do I have left? And that's the point. You just don't know until you come out of the dive. He knows it. The legs start bending to maintain that rotation. That was a safety maneuver right there, so unfortunate for Steve LoBue.
I tell you what, though, what an athlete Steve LoBue is for pulling that off. I mean, that would throw anybody off mentally, and Steve LoBue hangs on, hangs tight, gets it around, puts his feet into the water, but not the scores that he wanted there, obviously. But, boy, what a dive there. Prygorov, 356, remains the leader. Fedotov of Russia in second. Kolesnikov in third right now. So 356.55. Prygorov with a commanding lead here as we hit the midway point of the men's fourth and final round. Here's David Colturi, and he is very good friends with Steve LoBue, who we just saw dive. And he's completed in all of the World Series Portugal edition since 2012. Finished second here last season before that spleen injury took him out for the rest of the 2018 World Series. He's been getting his DD back up, his degree of difficulty, Joey.
Now, in total, in terms of all the dives he has added together, he has the highest degree of difficulty. Same degree of difficulty as Alexei Prygorov. Watch this. Reverse 2 somersaults with 5 twists. 5.4. DD. Tariff. So he'll stand forwards, but what he's going to do is rotate back towards the platform. And this is a long wait to finish the twist.
He needs a 117 on this individual dive to pull into the lead over Prygorov.
And to put that into scale with the judges, they mark it out of 10, of course. He will need 7.5 from the judges. That is within his grasp.
So Colturi carving through the H2O, a bit of a splash on that. And Joey, I always talk about the splash because people are used to traditional diving. What does that mean in cliff diving?
Okay, it's very important with the judging. Actually, the thing that they need to look at when you're talking about the entry is being as vertical as possible. And you can see, unfortunately, David Colturi's chest leaning forward on the dive. We can see it better in the replay. But I have to salute David Colturi for doing this dive. I call this the never-ending twist. Look at it. Still going, still going. 4.5 twists, and the briny at the end completes the 5 twists. Now, the reason why he struggled to finish the dive was the takeoff. You can just see him moving slightly forward there, and also the rotation wasn't enough. So right there, look at this. He's digging as deep as he can. He just can't quite finish the dive, but I need to be putting this out. All of these divers are so brave to even attempt these dives from 27 meters.
We'll see if it puts him into the lead. The judges have a lot of 5s up there displayed. He'll keep 2 of them, a 4.5. Big degree of difficulty in 5.4. That's 78. Added together with the first 3 dives, 317. So not enough for Colturi, as Alexei Prygorov with 356.55 still in a commanding lead as we look at the beautiful islet of Vila Franca do Campo off of the coast of São Miguel. David Colturi will not pull into the lead. He's won one World Series event in his career. And here is a man who's won 2, and that didn't come until after over 53 career starts. But here is Macaulay Navratil, and he is the 10th to go of 14. Gary Hunt will dive last, our 7-time Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion.
One of the most experienced cliff divers we have. Very energetic. Macaulay Navratil, Super Till. Okay, he also has a chance to slide into the lead. Very consistent diver.
Greg Louganis, sport director, looking on. Here goes Navratil. Boom, Navratil, will that be enough to pull into the lead?
Stylish.
He needs a 103 plus to get in there.
Big high five with the safety divers below and a big hug.
He always does. He does that to me, too. I thought I was the only guy he did that to.
Man, I mean, one thing is you're so relieved after the dive, and also he's extra relieved and he feels very happy about the dive. So when you hit the water, sometimes you can hear that water ripping past your ear and you know you've had a good entry. So Macaulay Navratil, I believe he has the 2nd highest number of starts in the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. A dive that he's done many times before. Great physical shape as well. Good pike position. That's the 2nd stage of the dive, the 2 twists in the middle. And then with so much experience, he knows what to do, and he knows how to adjust the last part of the dive. Macaulay Navratil, the job well done. Superb cliff diving.
He is psyched up. Look at that, a big score of 109.65. So that will do it and pull him into the lead with a grand total of 362.45. So Macaulay Navratil, the Czech, will move in over Prygorov of Ukraine. Will that hold? Macaulay Navratil, number 10 to go. We have Catalin Preda, Andy Jones, Jonathan Paredes, and Gary Hunt yet to dive.
Things are definitely heating up.
So there you look at the scores, 362, a solid lead, but you know Gary Hunt is used to getting over that 400-point mark, including Paredes, so we'll see if the 362 will hold. Prygorov in 2nd, again Colturi in 3rd. Beautiful shot right there, and 8th time in history that São Miguel has hosted this Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. Gary Hunt looking on as he focuses on what he'll do, and Catalin Preda, of Romania. What does he have in store, Joey?
He was the first person in the world, as a matter of fact, in his debut performance to do this skill, back 4 somersaults with 2 twists. 3rd place in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Here we go.
Catalin Preda, a little bit maybe short on that. A splash. Always a great reaction out of Navratil. Good camaraderie. What do you think?
You can see Navratil saying, look at the waves. You can see the waves coming up and down on that dive. So Catalin Preda.
Those who just joined us, Joey, talk about that. The swells coming in and out and the safety divers helping him a bit.
So watch Catalin Preda here. Here's the 1.5 twist at the beginning. So you need to take off with maximum power. What I've noticed he's been doing is coming out too early. Watch this. Comes into the pike. Hold onto here, coming around, holding just a little bit too early, slowing the dive down. You can watch here that he does not make the vertical position. And what that does is it pushes, yeah, that's a heavy hit.
Yeah.
So the water right there is gone right into your sternum, right into your chest, and that knocks the wind out of you. This has been a tough competition with these wavy swells. Not an easy event here in these orders.
Can you time the swells? I mean, can you actually, because some of these guys do that, maybe the most experienced.
I mean, if there's a big set coming in, you should step back and wait for the waters to calm a little bit, but you're standing backwards. You can't see what's going on behind you. You've just got to take off and hope for the best, but I do think the actual mistake came from coming out a little bit too early, but we've got 3 more divers to come right now. Andy Jones performing very well so far.
All right, let's take a look back at Andy Jones. Some great earlier rounds for the American, especially after his second place finish in Italy. So this is off the snakehead, Joey. Beautiful dive.
Yeah, 9.5. David Colturi cheering on his compadre to look at that. That's the flying position at the beginning of the tuck. A blind entry maneuver. Superb, fantastic.
I was standing next to Colturi during that. He was funny. He was telling the judges where they find the 10 in their cards.
Yeah,
it's in the back. He's like, it's in the back, you guys.
Yeah.
The 10 is in the back.
It could have almost got a 10. Yeah, I would have been almost there.
3 divers left. Navratil in the lead. Prygorov in second. Preda in third. 362.45 is the score to beat. So Andy Jones coming in with a lot of confidence after his second place finish in Italy and that phenomenal first round dive.
Okay, just 3 more divers to go. Andy Jones with a chance of standing in the top 3. He just needs to get 7.5 from the judges. He can do this.
Andy Jones!
Torpedo-like hitting that. Macaulay Navratil likes it. He's wondering if that will affect or impact his lead with 362.45.
He's nervously waiting. Macaulay Navratil. And Andy Jones is one of those divers who's so clever with the last part of the dive.
So he
was a performer in Cirque du Soleil. He has an abundance of experience. There's that gymnastic twist at the beginning. He's got very powerful legs, good elevation from the platform. I thought he was a tad slow in terms of rotation, grabbing onto the pike. And watch this, he actually stays a little bit rounded. Most divers would actually kick up a splash, and I don't know how he does it. He just slides through the water. He knows how to manipulate the end of the dive. Now he's been looking ever so relaxed. Now we're going to talk about the judges and what this means in terms of his result and his chance of making another podium. So he was second place in Italy, don't forget. Third place overall in the World Series rankings 2016. Andy Jones.
Big scores. He'll throw out an 8 and an 8.5 for the stuntman who lives in California. 110.40. So Andy Jones with that score will move into the lead. 375.45. So Jones on a roll right now, guaranteed a podium. Moves in up over at Navratil and Prygorov in third right now. A great men's competition brewing.
And we called this actually, Trey, so we could see his body language. He just looked relaxed, he looked calm, he looked focused. He is Gary Hunt right now, the 7 times Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion.
Speaking of relaxed and calm, this is where he shines. But he does look a little bit nervous. And here's Johnny Paredes.
And rightly so, Jonathan has been on fire in this competition. 3 10s for his round 1 dive.
I mean, he has been diving better than most when we look at training, but had a few unlucky breaks, especially at the last competition in Italy. Greg Louganis, 2-time Olympic champion, looking on, making sure things are safe. He calls himself off.
Jonathan doesn't like diving in the wind. He's just telling the scuba divers to take a step back for a second, regain his composure. So remember, you're standing on the platform with just half your feet on the end. Any big gusts of wind come along, it does put you off balance sometimes. Now, he did falter on this dive in Italy, so he really wants to make up for lost ground. Can he do it? Needs 7s from the judges.
Johnny Paredes in true form. Joey Zuber, what have we just served?
A platter of first-class cliff diving. Wow, Jonathan Paredes, he knew what to do on that last dive. He wanted to redeem himself after Italy, and redeem himself he did. Congratulations, Jonathan Paredes, for a fine dive there. A round of applause for Andy Jones. Look at this, jumping from the platform, maybe a tad too far back, but he is very elegant. He doesn't wobble at any part of the dive. And you can see right at that point, he looked at the water and I knew he had it. He had the right amount of rotation. Look at that. Look how the feet will overlap to make sure the feet don't split apart. That's a little trick the divers use. And they call him the Style Master and the Rip Master. And there's a good reason for that. Now, I'm very curious to see what the judges are going to give this. I mean, this might be close to a 10. It might be. And remember, we're looking at breaking the record as well right now.
Well, the most 10s for a single dive is 4. He gets 3. But the most 10s in a competition, Joey, is 5. So 3 10s. He beats the record with the most amount of 10s in the history of the sport with his 3 10s from the first round dive. Incredible for Paredes.
Beautiful diving, a cliff diving spectacle. Records broken, 6 10s in one competition for Jonathan Paredes.
Yes!
Absolutely sensational. Now, what really is remarkable, I like the way he got over that last competition, put it behind him, put his foot down, and dove so well. And he handled the conditions very well here in these orders. The other divers, not such an easy competition.
He's so emotional because of that last dive just a few weeks back in Italy, and absolutely regains his composure, hits it, now earns a record 6 10s, the most in the history of any 10s awarded in a competition after 4 rounds of diving.
And we've got one more diver to come, and that is how you put pressure on the last diver, Mr. Gary Hunt. He's got to be feeling nervous right now.
So a relieved Jonathan Paredes. I wonder if he knows that he just broke the record for the most amount of 10s in a single competition.
Perhaps not. But right now, it's Gary Hunt.
So Gary Hunt needs 134.7. So from the judges, what does he need, Joey? I mean, as far as
talk about
on
pressure.
The cards, the individual cards.
Got to get 9s. Cannot make a single mistake.
Second highest DD. So far undefeated in this 2019 season. Gary Hunt. And the brilliant Brit delivers a beautiful dive. Will that be enough to pull ahead of Johnny Paredes for the win and the 3rd straight this season?
That was a great dive, in my opinion. Okay, you didn't see the rip entry. You didn't see the perfect nose splash. But I remind everybody, it's about being vertical through the water. Curious to see what the judges are going to give it. It's going to be close, in my opinion.
It wouldn't be the 3rd straight. He didn't get on that top of the podium in Ireland, but nevertheless, it would be his 3rd victory of this season.
This is going to be tight, really tight. Okay, let's look at the dive, reaching up. Signature dive for Gary Hunt, the triple quad. He jumps up in the first somersault. He performs 3.5 twists, nice and smooth into the pike position. There's the brownie. Let's look carefully at how he was very vertical, a little unlucky. Like I was saying, you get those waves sometimes lapping against the body. You might get unlucky with the splash. Trace Worthington, what a competition. This has been thrilling.
You would know better than me on the judges right now. This is going to be tight. Jonathan Paredes, 417.50 after a beautiful dive, earning 3 10s and breaking a record. And it is 9s by 3 judges, a pair of 8.5. So you roll that up with a big degree of difficulty of 5-2. 137 brought by the brilliant Brit, Gary Hunt. And he pulls it off once again under tremendous pressure. Gary Hunt, the winner.
Could you imagine being Jonathan Paredes thinking, what do I have to do to beat this guy? Do you know what I mean? You absolutely nailed all of your dives. You've got 6 10s in one competition. You just have to wait for him to make one tiny little mistake.
One small. Just the swell to come in for a second, right, later.
And this is why, once again, we say Gary Hunt, the 7 times Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion. Wow.
Unbelievable.
That is a competition.
So Gary Hunt, right there, you see a small gap between Gary Hunt and Jonathan Paredes. It was a tight competition. Andy Jones gets another podium position, Navratil in 4th. An incredible competition. A little bit of carnage here and there. Challenging conditions.
That it is. It does
Everybody
demonstrate.
came out safe and sound.
Yeah, it demonstrates how difficult this sport is mentally and physically. So if you're not feeling right on the day, like we saw with Jucelino, took a step back, but we do commend him for doing that. That's a brave thing to do. Gary Hunt, he should be extremely proud of himself. He's been working very hard in France. He resides in Paris. The standings?
Yeah, the overall standings. After 4 competitions, Hunt 600 points, so undefeated, and Andy Jones with 350 tied with Jonathan Paredes. So some moving and shaking going on between 2nd place and 3rd place. Macaulay Navratil in 4th. LoBue has some work to do here before the end of the season. He's in 8th. And so you see the rest of the field rounding out the top 16. But Gary Hunt once again pulls it off. So this is his 37th career victory.
And he's been in every single tour stop.
The only athlete.
The only athlete. So I believe it's 76 Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series competition. Macaulay Navratil there with the 2nd highest number of starts. Enjoying the scenery, enjoying the competition and the energy. And there's a beautiful islet of Villafranco do Campo.
Gary Hunt, the winner again.
Para a etapa açoriana no circuito mundial, a bater o recorde à frente de Elmar, que está com 7, e La Rochelle com 6 para este lugar.
There's the women's winning dive to recap their 4th and final round. So we'll see the medal ceremony coming up shortly. And that is a dive that she feels very comfortable with. She always performs that particular dive in the 4th and final round, ever so consistent. So once again, in the number 1 position, 5 wins in a row, breaking the record in the Women's Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. And high-fiving the safety divers below.
So Rhiannon Iffland setting records, 5 straight wins when you include the final stop of last season. Jessica Macaulay getting a podium position. So the 2nd of her career in that same position. Lisanne Richard in 3rd place, very familiar with the podium. So Rhiannon Iffland, the victor here in São Miguel, and she is down with David O'Queeve. David.
Yes, I am. And Rhiannon, let's start with a congratulations, but also let's just listen to that. 5 times Red Bull Cliff Diving, you've won 5 events in a row. Does that fill you with pride?
It does. It fills me with pride for sure. And, you know, people were asking before coming into this event if it was something that was on my mind, you know, to win the competitions in a row. But I just tried to go out there and play my own game and compete as per usual. And it definitely paid off for me. So, yeah.
Definitely did pay off. Now, you and I have often spoke about leaving your favorite dive to last. Did you do that again today?
Absolutely. Every single time. Of course, I always leave it to last. I love it, and it's my best scoring dive, so why not?
Unbelievable. And then my last question is about the conditions. And again, we spoke about this before, but today they're particularly different. There's large swells. You had 3 dives. How do you adapt to this?
Yeah, look, you know, each competition coming in, I think we prepare ourselves mentally for any weather conditions or anything that can happen here. So it was tough to do 3 dives, and my dive yesterday was really, really good, and then the second 2, I just caught a wave, and then the last one, you know, I said I have to switch on for this last dive, and yeah, it worked. So.
Well, it was survival of the fittest out there, and it was an absolute pleasure to watch. Congratulations once again. This is becoming too often of a thing, but I hope you enjoy the celebrations.
Thank you so much.
Estes grandes saltos
All right, thanks, Dave, and congratulations. Rhiannon Iffland setting records today, her 5th straight win, and now going for her 4th career Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series title and King Kaakili Trophy. Not bad for just starting a few years ago.
She knows how to stay in the moment as well, so try not to focus on the results. You actually have to think about dive by dive what you need to do in the moment, so it's not a good thing to think about the results. And when you think about what you need to do in the moment, it helps you stay focused and calm and paying attention.
Again, the beautiful islet hosting the world's best here, just off São Miguel and Villafranca do Campo. The 8th time that this location has held the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. And a beautiful day, and a great job to our entire crew for pulling it off. It's not easy out here on the island, folks, as we welcome the women up onto the podium with Lisanne Richard grabbing the bronze in 3rd place. Familiar with the podium, the mother of 3 from Canada.
3rd place in Italy as well, so very consistent. And then in 2017, as you mentioned earlier in the show, she missed the entire season and made a fantastic comeback. Feeling very proud. Mother of 3, former Cirque du Soleil performer Lisanne Richard. Well done.
Jessica Macaulay getting back up on the podium, showing some consistency as we are at the midway point of the season. Remember, there are 7 total stops, this being number 4. And then off to Beirut, Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Bilbao, Spain for the final. And here is your champion, once again, Rhiannon Iffland.
The woman of the day, consistent as always across all 4 dives. Talented and mentally strong. Congratulations to Rhiannon Iffland, the winner here in the Azores Islands, the 4th stop of the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, the midway point of the season, and she's got some valuable points.
Iffland wins gold in a giant whale tail. Fitting.
Once again, difficult to travel with.
Exactly.
Forte aplauso então para as nossas saltadoras.
Rhiannon Iffland winning number 15 on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. 19th podium out of 20 starts.
Also good to see Jessica Macaulay on the podium once again. She tried a new dive this year, front quad somersault in the tuck position. And it takes you some time to get consistent with a new dive, and I think finally now she's starting to understand how to perform it. She scored 8s on the dive, so great to see her on the podium once again. I believe she was actually 2nd place in her first appearance as a wild card in Texas. And cherishing the champagne, celebrating.
For once again, make our lives happy here at the Azores. Vamos passar agora aos atletas masculinos.
Trace, I believe it's been a fantastic competition. Only the brave can do this sport. Seen a lot of difficult situations for some athletes.
And you can just see as an outsider looking in, Joey, just the versatility and mental stamina that's required at this particular stop of the series, especially when you witness the other ones. much calmer conditions in the Philippines, a little bit of rough weather in Ireland, but they managed, and here it just changes by the hour. And Andy Jones once again on the podium, this time in third after a second-place finish in Italy. Congratulations to the American. He's on a roll, and Johnny Paredes doing a great job today. Hats off to him. And as you mentioned, what is it going to take to beat Gary Hunt is what all of the divers are asking themselves right now.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing is the athletes that we see standing on the podiums have quite a bit of experience behind them.
Yeah.
It's just Macaulay, not as much as the others, but here we have Gary. What a fine T-shirt as well.
That is
hey,
a fine
win,
T-shirt.
You can wear whatever you want, right?
Hey, look, I mean, you can wear pineapples, watermelons, oranges, whatever you want on your shirt when you're the winner.
It's your day, just like your birthday.
You bet. Now that is a first-class platter of cliff diving right there. There's just
first-class whale tail as well. Yep. No, but I mean, this guy is such a humble gentleman as well. I mean, if you met him on the street, you would never know he's a 7-time Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion. A real gentleman.
37th career victory. He has won nearly half of the events he's entered since 2009, because this is his 76th World Series start. Unbelievable.
Forte aplauso para os nossos vencedores.
Tough day, Joey. Tough weekend for all of the divers.
It was, but I do commend all of them for their bravery and their skills. I mean, most of these divers have at least 8 to 10 years of conventional diving experience before they even attempt the sport of cliff diving. Just trying to add up how many years Gary may have been diving for. I believe he started when he was 11 or 12 years old. So I believe he's 34 years old right now. So
he just turned 35.
35. There we go.
Going for his 7th King Kahekili Trophy if he can keep it up here in the 2019 season. Celebration begins for the gents. Next, the World Series heads to the Mediterranean Sea to a new location, Beirut, Lebanon, one of the oldest cities. This new territory for the divers, well, they'll launch from the pure cliff face off Beirut's neighborhood of Rocher. The giant limestone outcrops, also known as Pigeon Rocks, a primary landmark for Lebanon's capital and a popular tourist destination. Yet another spectacular and visually stunning location, Joey, for the divers.
It is. And as a matter of fact, Orlando Duque has dove from this very spot back in 2002, and a lot of locals tend to leap from this cliff, so there's a bit of history there as well.
Mark your calendars for Sunday, July 14th, when Joey and I call it live from Lebanon, and it is going to be an awesome event that will be a big deciding factor when it comes to the overall points. All right, so it's time to wrap things up here in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and stop number 4 of the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. A fantastic event. Congratulations to our winners. Trace Worthington, Joey Zuber, David Aquib, and the rest of our team saying goodbye from São Miguel and the Azores Islands of Portugal. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
to distant lands, while others watch you in surprise.